What's going on, YouTube? I want to talk about the big beautiful bill as it has passed the House and now is on to the Senate. They've imposed themselves a July 4th deadline to pass this spending bill. My guess is it'll get passed just because it's a Republican bill, Republican House and Senate, Republican president pushing for it. That's probably the skinny on it. Not going to take up too much time because honestly this isn't all that interesting. It's very important to me in the sense of obviously we're dealing with our federal budget and how much money they're going to spend and how much more we're going to increase the deficit and all that, but truly the bill itself, unless you're going to sit there and dive down into it without some visual aids or something, is not that interesting. All I wanted to basically get across is like surface level understanding of what's happening here. Big beautiful bill, Trump's spending package that they're trying to pass, otherwise known as an omnibus. They talk about pork. This is kind of seems like what led to the fallout between Elon and Trump in the last 2 weeks, basically. Partially, I think, because of this, partially some other reasons, most likely. We can talk about that in a different video, but the thing is, like I said, they're probably going to pass this. It's being whatever they call it in the Senate, where they're basically trying to make sure they have all the votes before they bring it up for a vote and ensure it'll pass. We got some Republican senators saying they're not going to vote for it because of the deficit problem, whether they do that or not, and whether it's just political bullshit. Either they have to make it look like they're not going to vote for it and all that. We'll see how it goes. But in theory, if it passes, like I said, we're jumping up the deficit even more. We're talking about, I believe they're talking about $2.5 trillion deficit just in 1 year, or 2.5. What am I trying to say? 2.5 trillion, I think, is what they're talking about. It might be 2.5 trillion over 10 years. So I'm sorry about that. I'll put in the comments one way, or in the description, just to make sure I'm correct. But it might be something along those lines, where we're talking about deficit over the next 10 years is 2.4 trillion, I think. But they're going to front load most of it and then supposedly make it up. Which here's a little secret for you: they never do. We just keep spending more. I think I was pretty close on my estimate way back when we were talking about Elon, Doge, and all this idea of Trump coming in and actually cutting federal spending that they were trying to kind of promise they were going to do. And I think I gave it about 90-10 odds that they would not, in the sense of 90% they probably wouldn't really cut federal spending, 10% they would. I think that was probably about fair because the federal government hasn't had a balanced budget since, the 90s or something like that. Like we're well past that, and we're never going back as far as I can tell. Sadly, that's what it is. This bill, yeah, it cuts some things, and the reason Elon's pissed is because they're going to cut the EV mandates and some stuff like that. But overall, we're just taking on more debt, baby. And I mean, you can maybe, if you look at this bill and you're happy about, they're going to up the military spending and they're going to up the border defense spending and things like that, and maybe you're happy about that, awesome, I guess. But overall, the real problem, and supposedly what Elon's problem is with it, is that interest on that debt is getting higher and higher. And if you've watched any of the other videos where we're talking about the interest rates nowadays, every time the more debt we take on, the worse this situation is going to get. Federal spending, like I said, we've been in a deficit for a long time. We're going to keep going deeper into it. And our three biggest categories of spending are pretty much entitlements are number one by a long shot. So like Social Security, Medicare, things like that, all bundled together. Them by themselves are actually, I think Social Security is the biggest one, and then Medicare. They're like the biggest two technically. And then it's defense spending. So if you roll Social Security and Medicare together, that's entitlements. Nobody's ever going to touch that because it's super unpopular, especially with old people who vote the most. That's not getting touched, so the biggest category is not getting touched. Defense spending, we're actually upping it. Like I said, they're going to add $150 billion or something like that to defense spending over the next year. I mean, and then next category is interest on the debt that we owe. So obviously, you borrow more money, the interest goes up, so that number is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger until we can't afford it anymore, I guess. I don't know how it'll be. How long can we keep borrowing question? And well, we can all watch that play out over our lifetime, I guess. How long it'll take, nobody knows, but shouldn't take too long, maybe 10, 20 years, and we'll see this just either implode or we're going to have to do something to solve it. But obviously Trump's not solving it. And that's really all there is to it. We're going to spend more. If you like where the money's getting spent, you can be happy about it. Overall, I'm not that happy about it. Like I said, I didn't really ever think there was a huge, great chance that we're going to get a spending cut and trim up some of this terrible federal spending and get us back into a little bit more towards a balanced budget. But there was hope. My hope is now pretty much gone. Like I said, I think this will pass, and we're going to keep continuing down the track we're on. I mean, hopefully some benefit comes out of the spending, I guess, is all you can hope for now. But overall, the direction we're heading is generally negative, in my opinion. So let me know what you think. Leave a like on the video if you got something out of it. Dislike it if you didn't. Like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. Come back each day. We're talking finance and politics here on the drive home. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow.